Don Polye declared member-elect for Kandep open. Prime Minister unveils Billboard honouring the Grand Chief. And another Central man, a victim of police brutality.
This is National MTV News with Helen Sayre.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for Thursday's news. The National Court today accepted and declared Don Polye as the member-elect for Kandep Open. This per a court-ordered recount of the 2017 national election results following a petition filed by Polye challenging Alfred Manasse's election. Following the recount in Kundiawa last month, Polye polled 1,204 votes clear of Manasse.
Songs of jubilation following the National Court ruling today, installing Don Polye, the duly elected member for Kandep Open.
Long Kandep was all Papua New Guinea. Now long Wabek ilagim Don Polye must come back to Parliament. Now we know me much.
The National Court ruled in his favour after declaring the results from the concluded judicial recount, which was conducted in Kundiawa, Simbu Province last month. Outside court, he gave his address to the people.
I thank His Honour Justice Kennings for being very fair. He was listening to all the motions filed on all sides. And he finally has delivered a decision that is just, inconsistent to the Supreme Court order.
A little over 12 months remaining before the next general elections. That's how long the member-elect, Don Polye, has for his time in office. He says 12 months is a lot in the political space, and he wants to prove to the people of Kandep that he's the right leader for the job.
I have learned so much in this process, 15 years now through these 4 years of court, that I don't want to speak my plan out. Because every time I speak the plan out in an honest manner, people, they twist my talk. So what will I do? I will try my best to be the best leader for Kandep and the best leader for Papua New Guinea. That's all I can say.
The founder of the Triumph Heritage Party, Don Polye, has long battled with close rival Alfred Manasse for the Kandep seat, not only in the 2017 national election, but the prior elections as well. He called on his people to respect the outcome and for all parties to work together.
Me to extend him, I'm a master. Welcome, Manasse. You also are part of Kandep. My leadership means I will discriminate.
Mr. Polye says he will work with the government to deliver services to his people and contribute his ideas that best helps the nation progress through the tough times. Bradley Valenaki, National MTV News.
The billboard of the Michael Samara Peace and Unity Park was unveiled this morning by Prime Minister James Marape and Dalciana Samara Brash, the daughter of late Grand Chief Sir Michael Samara. Prime Minister Marape says this monumental park will serve as a reminder of the life that the late Grand Chief lived.
The Michael Samara Peace and Unity Park is through a collaboration between the national government, city authorities and the Samara family. And City Governor Powers Pakop says this park will cement the history of the founding father, Grand Chief Sir Michael Samara. Governor Pakop also says the greatest feature of the park is its name.
We are honored to be part of creating this monument and host this park to ensure that his story, his vision, his values are never forgotten, and that we, this generation and future generation, find inspiration and guidance from this great and powerful story of our founding father of the nation.
On behalf of the Samara family, Dalciana Samara Brash, the daughter of the Grand Chief, who gave a moving tribute during the mourning period, acknowledged the government for the initiative and said it shows the true spirit of unity.
I think such a commemorative park is a very important thing to bring together our people again in the spirit of unity that was so clearly defined by our forefathers in such a complex and diverse country. We commend the efforts of the Marape Basel government in hosting the series of events at the passing of our father, so that we, his beloved people, could join hands once again in national unity to be reminded of all that has been left for us and also everything.
Prime Minister James Marape says this park will reflect the life of the late Grand Chief. He says this is where history will be found, where the park will feature libraries and monuments of the founding fathers of this great nation.
Toka, a senior who has been a very close friend of the late great Grand Chief, as we unveil this park, this will be part of a body of activities that will ensure Samara lives on in the psychic and the mindset and in the public policy space and our national character. Even in his passing, he lives on, going on into the future.
This park is a gift that the NCD Governor Powers Pakop has announced during the state funeral of the late Grand Chief Sir Michael Thomas Samara, which has eventuated today. Prime Minister James Marape says this unveiling will give rise to many monuments and institutions. Gertrude Gabi, National MTV News.
Department of Personnel Management will now be using an online application as a new networking tool going forward. This will enable working remotely and working under the new normal protocols in light of COVID-19. The Management Information Service team of the department created the app called the Google Teams.
In light of the COVID-19 pandemic, public servants have been faced with many challenges, and the need to be innovative and to find new ways of working to help prevent the spread of the virus is critical. The online application called the Google Teams is part of the department's endeavor to find innovative practices of conducting business in this pandemic. As a lead government department secretary, Taya Sansan has been vocal on the use of such working tools. She says the app will be used by DPM staff for meetings and workshops that requires more than 10 people, especially when communicating with other provinces. Yesterday, the department held its executive meeting via this application for the first time. Despite few technical issues, the executive management meeting via this app was a success. Secretary Sansan says such innovations can be used by other line agencies to ensure the public service is complying with the nuclear passing protocol. Policies and guidelines for this app are being finalized by the department to guide the use of this app. A circular has also been issued by the department and the Office of the Controller, highlighting the need for government businesses to continue and public servants to continue their work during this pandemic. Rayon Lakingu, National MTV News.
Newly appointed procurement committee members of Mendi Muniu District, Taripori District and Hela Provincial Administration were sworn in yesterday at the National Procurement Commission office. Magistrate Gary Unjo presided over the signing of oaths as they vowed to uphold the Constitution with regards to the National Procurement Act 2018 in executing their respective procurement duties.
Since the formerly known Central Supply and Tenders Board was reformed to the National Procurement Commission under the National Procurement Act 2018, the NPC has been encouraging district development authorities and provincial administrations to establish procurement committees. The swearing-in ceremony yesterday saw procurement committees from Hela Provincial Government, Mendi Muniu District and Taripori District taking their oaths before performing their functions.
NPC board has carefully considered the nominations made by respective leaders, the various chairmen of the district development authorities and the provincial or governor, and nominated its members to be members of the district and the provincial procurement committees.
What has just happened is the board has delegated the board powers to the provinces and districts. We, in the previous, during CSTB time, we never had district committees. There was no Taripori district. Only the provinces, we had provincial supplies and tender board. But when our good Prime Minister was Finance Minister, what he did was he encouraged us to reform the procurement space. That's why the Procurement Commission was established.
Following the official swearing-in ceremony, NPC CEO Simon Polye explained that procurement threshold limits for provincial governments is now at 5 million kina, whilst districts' threshold is at 2.5 million kina. CEO Polye also challenged the newly appointed procurement committees to abide by the relevant laws, as failure to comply would result in serious consequences. Mr. Polye said awarding of contracts to local businesses is highly encouraged, with foreign business considerations to be made only under special arrangements. Dennis Orere, National EMTV News.
Chairman of the National Gas Corporation Limited, Alfred Kayabe, says government should involve the gas company in state matters relating to the natural resource. And as an agency established by law, it objects the current undertaking by the minister and line agencies regarding new petroleum and energy bills.
Mr. Kayabe confirms the Prime Minister's awareness on the issue and his input.
The current Prime Minister has a seeing eye. He has now said, no, we are entrenched by law and NGC will be the downstream processing vehicle on behalf of the country.
He says, however, as an institution within the resource space, it has been overlooked in matters relating to its jurisdiction.
And under Section 48, National Gas Corporation must be a participant.
He claims the new reforms proposed under the legislative changes in petroleum, energy and gas will overlap the current functions of the National Gas Corporation, which is still in existence.
Those, the organic law and those two authorities, essentially what they do is duplicate and hijack the downstream processing mandate, which is conferred only insofar as all state entities in this country are concerned on the National Gas Corporation.
Mr. Kayabe says NGC will follow up with government so that they deliver what is rightfully owed to the state and its people. Bradley Valenaki, National EMTV News.
You're watching National EMTV News. When we come back, Pacific Island Forum expressed concerns after Japan proposed to dump nuclear waste in the Pacific Ocean and COVID-19 vaccine rollout to begin soon. Details after the break. Welcome back. The Pacific Islands Forum on Tuesday expressed concern over the disposal of waste from Japan's Fukushima nuclear plant into the Pacific Ocean. Forum Secretary General Dame Meg Taylor called on the government of Japan to hold off its decision until further consultation is carried out and an independent expert review is undertaken. Yana Zoriri with more.
Japan announced its decision on Monday this week to dispose radioactive wastewater from the Fukushima nuclear plant into the Pacific Ocean. A decision Secretary General Dame Meg Taylor said was reached without consulting the members of the Pacific Islands Forum. I spoke to her via Zoom.
We knew that this was being considered about 18 months to 2 years ago, and when we did approach the Embassy of Japan here in Fiji, we were told that there was no decisions made. They were looking for all other options on how to dispose of the treated waste, the treated water of from the Fukushima nuclear plant into the Pacific Ocean. So the decision now is that they will be disposing this water waste into the Pacific Ocean, and it raises serious concerns for the Pacific.
As the Pacific Ocean Commissioner, Dame Meg reaffirmed the forum's position in keeping the region free of environment pollution from radioactive waste and other radioactive matter. The wastewater, though treated, may still contain radioactive tritium and can potentially harm the Pacific region, including possible environmental, health and economic impacts.
When we as state parties to the Treaty of Rarotonga met when I say we, are member states, on the 15th of December in 2020, our state parties did call for, if I could read, other states to take all appropriate measures within their territory, jurisdiction or control to prevent significant transboundary harm to the territory of any other state as required under international law. So I think the concern for us is that they have not honoured their obligations under those treaties, and under international law, we could seek some redress.
The forum is simply asking Japan to take a responsible approach within its territory to prevent transboundary destruction to the territories of the Pacific. Japan's fishery industry, China and South Korea, including the Pacific, have all raised concerns over the decision. Yana Zoririn, National EMTV News.
The 24-hour ultimatum put forward by the PNG Teachers Association yesterday to the Teaching Service Commission, national government and relevant authorities has lapsed, and there has been minimal response by relevant authorities over the last 24 hours, which, according to PNGTA's demand, may lead to industrial action by teachers for a nationwide strike.
EMTV News attempts today to get a response from Education Secretary Dr. Uke Kombra or Education Minister Jimmy Uguro on the matter was advised by the National Department of Education Media Unit that Minister Uguro will respond soon and that the Minister and Department Secretary were out of Port Moresby on duty travel and would be back in office on April 19th. The PNG Teachers Association yesterday threatened to take industrial action through the Office of the Industrial Registrar if their demands were not responded to or addressed within 24 hours.
The NMC calls upon the Teaching Service Commission, the Ministry of Education, the National Department of Education, and the Government of Papua New Guinea give you all 24 hours ultimate to respond to above mentioned claims. 2. Failure to respond positively to all the above, PNG will seek industrial action through the Office of the Industrial Registrar to continue dialogue for a possibility of nationwide either sit-in strike or strike walk on the street.
We are thinking very seriously to stop work. We are going to negotiate. We're going to make sure that the people who are responsible for our welfare to come and sit with us and talk to us. And we've given an ultimatum of 24 hours. If the minister doesn't want to come and talk to us, well, that's good. If the Secretary of the Department of Education doesn't want to talk to us, that's okay. The TSC doesn't want to come and negotiate with us, that's okay. But when the teachers stop work, that's the bottom line. That's where we are coming from.
Meanwhile, Health Minister Jelta Wong said today in response to the situation that on the part of teachers' issues, it was for the Education Minister to address. However, he said personal protective equipment referred to by the PNGTA were available and would be delivered accordingly, but not within the 24-hour ultimatum.
In these trying times when this world pandemic is around, people shouldn't give demands. We are trying our best to mitigate and make sure that we look after everybody. And for them to give demands like this is very time-consuming for the Education Department to go and work through the programs with them. I can't speak on behalf of the Education Minister, but I'm sure that he will take it up when he sits with them.
As the scheduled resumption of classes on April 19, which is next Monday, draws closer, and as the PNG Teachers Association plans its next course of action based on response from relevant authorities, the safety of school students and teachers with regards to the COVID-19 pandemic remains at risk. Dennis Sorere, National EMTV News.
A shipment of 132,000 doses of vaccine that arrived early this week will be rolled out to all provinces in the country with the aim to vaccinate approximately 20% of the population. Health officers and frontline workers are prioritized to take the vaccine. The COVAX were presented to Health Minister Jelta Wong and Controller David Manning by PNG UN Coordinator, WHO representatives and other partner coalitions of the donors of the COVAX.
With the recent increase in the number of COVID-19 cases in the country, the 132,000 COVID-19 doses will be given to all provincial health workers and frontliners as vaccination continues. UN Resident Coordinator in PNG, Gianluca Rampolla, speaking on behalf of UNICEF, acknowledged the donors and the stakeholders for their collective effort to prevent the spread of COVID-19 through the COVAX vaccination.
Our own UN lead agencies, WHO and UNICEF, for their outstanding contributions in supporting the government since the outbreak in March of last year, and now in particular the rollout of this vaccine. WHO has and will continue supporting NDOH on the establishment of the technical working group. The National Technical Working Group has been providing support and will keep on providing support to the provinces for the development of micro-planning. It will assist and has been assisting the department to revitalize the national adverse effect following immunization committee and the relevant committees at provincial level, and keeps on supporting data management and analysis to monitor the implementation of the vaccine rollout.
Whilst the global pandemic affected communities continue the fight to erase the virus, U.S. Ambassador to PNG, Erin Elizabeth Mackey, speaking on behalf of donors, said they will continue to support the government in the fight of COVID-19 in PNG.
To truly bring an end to the acute phase of this pandemic, we must aspire to vaccinate more people. We must come together as a global community to increase our ambition. The United States Congress recently provided more than $11 billion for America's global COVID response, which we will use together with our partners in several ways, including to save lives by supporting broad and equitable vaccine access, providing aid and assistance to mitigate secondary impacts of COVID, like hunger and economic recovery, and helping countries boost their pandemic preparedness.
Health Minister Jelta Wong, who was present to receive the COVAX, further assured that the government will continue to work with UNICEF, WHO and other bilateral and multilateral countries to prevent the spread of the virus.
I want to emphasize and commend again the international solidarity, the support that we have internationally for Papua New Guinea. This by far is the greatest feat that we've had in Papua New Guinea. I look forward to the national deployment, the rollout to all parts of Papua New Guinea, and the continued support from each and every one of you. Thank you.
Suli, National EMTV News.
A total number of COVID-19 cases in Morbe province currently stands at 508. The cases by districts indicates that Lae has 468, Bulolo has 18, Nawai with 13, Markham 4, Finchhafen with 3, and Huon and Te Waiasiasi have 1 case each. The category of people affected are health workers and company and mobile workers. For the health staff at Engau who were affected, 66 have recovered, 3 are still active and 1 has passed on from the disease. Meanwhile, the Department of Health is expected to send 5,000 vaccines to the province. Lae MP John Rosso said he wants to involve senior citizens and others as part of vaccine advocacy to encourage more people to come forward and be vaccinated. From the Office of the National Control Centre, as of yesterday, the number of positive COVID-19 cases has gone past 9,000 with 204 new cases. Papua New Guinea has recorded 11 new COVID-19 deaths in the last 24 hours, increasing the total number of deaths to 82. Meanwhile, the National Control Centre is yet to provide statistics for people who have recovered. This is due to the slow progress and lack of information from provincial health centres on the update of COVID-19 recovery cases. Mount Hagen Traffic Police have recorded 10 major traffic accidents along the newly built 4-lane road in a space of 3 months. The highway was funded by the Asian Development Bank. Provincial Police Commander Jacob Kamiak says there are many factors that are now raising concerns. A recent accident resulted in 3 deaths and 17 others injured.
PPC Kamiak said reckless driving is also a major contributing factor to road accidents along the new 4-lane road in Mount Hagen. He said the issuing of licenses to drivers are not regulated, which resulted in people below the age of 18 given licenses to drivers. There are no test drives and traffic needs to improve in this to minimize road accidents.
My traffic personnel have been conducting awareness and telling people this and that, to follow the traffic rules and traffic lights. But people are being ignorant because most of these people are driving, those people driving are young people. They are not tested by police like they used to be before they get their license.
Despite this, traffic police have partnered with MVIL to conduct road safety awareness on the use of traffic lights, pedestrian crossings, reading traffic signs, and conducting proper accident reports to minimize fraudulent claims. However, PPC Kamiak said drivers are ignorant and don't follow simple traffic rules, thus causing fatal car accidents.
The traffic personnel presented reports on the awareness they were conducting. But one thing is that people are ignorant.
Last Friday, a 15-seater bus on its way to the airport was traveling at high speed and slammed into a semi-trailer. The semi-trailer was making a turn into a nearby tire service across the road when it was hit. This resulted in 3 people killed, 2 in critical condition, and 15 others severely injured. There has been numerous hit-and-run accidents along the 4-lane road. Vasanata Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
12-year-old Brianna, who went missing for 2 days, has returned home. Brianna's mother, Carol Mape, reported her missing yesterday and said she ran away from home after being disciplined. The family searched for her for 2 days and reported her missing yesterday. Mrs. Mape said she was with relatives for the past 2 days and is grateful for her return. And now looking at the NASFund market report, the kina closed unchanged at $0.2850 US in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.2775 US, $0.3544 Australian dollars, $0.2233 euro, and 29.60 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading higher, coffee, cocoa and copper closed higher. Palm oil closed unchanged, crude oil is trading lower and copper closed higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 53.62 points higher. The ASX 200 is trading at 41.29 points higher, and the All Ordinaries is trading at 42.47 points higher. Among stories after the break, a Central man and his wife, the latest victims of police brutality. Details after the break. Welcome back to the news. Recent cases of police brutality have resulted in 2 deaths in the Central Province in the past month. Over the past week, a married woman, 37-year-old mother of 5, told her story. Now, a young man, father of a 10-month-old baby, says he was nearly beaten to death on Tuesday, 13th of April in the nation's capital.
A 25-year-old David Emmanuel of Central Province in Port Moresby says he was brutally beaten by police on Tuesday after he, along with his wife, were picked up at their home in Tokara around 3 p.m.
Already inside Laos no, Roshimi come outside Laos now. Or put me inside the white 5 dog loan.
David says they were then driven to 7 Mile near the Jackson's airport, where he was ruthlessly and continuously assaulted.
Okay, mi okarimi kamo sa puti cable Thailand domi leg domin. Obruki mo try pa diwa in or fighti mi one time. Larapta puti belt to neck domin belti mi like pulim nangama fimin. Or fighti mi lap.
While they were beating David, he says his wife was in the vehicle.
Mrs. Pamil Sidania Minsalo, 5 doya staff. Ostat last me question still car. I'm talk oh me no limbs still car.
David's wife says she begged to be released, but as she begged, she says she was sexually harassed. She did not want to be on camera but explained her ordeal.
I was stopping salo this 5 door. Man siram baksel lomi waklo olim leg lomi oli bell lomi olim susu lomi gokam na mi oklo karaina kokiyamasa miga baby.
After the ordeal, David's wife says she was dropped off at their home, but David was locked up at the Garahu police station on Tuesday night. The victim says he was taken out 8 a.m. yesterday and later dropped off at Garahu around 2 p.m.
Karimi kam dan Gero goli on suspect nam. All folks unit kam lushimi house. Pakselo filial drop me lap miokuba kam dan.
For 12 hours, the victim was detained at the police station without any charges. EMTV has reached out to the Assistant Commissioner of Police, Anthony Wagambi Jr. He responded and said he was not aware of this and has passed the information on to the Internal Investigations Unit for verification and inquiries. Kilawani, National EMTV News.
Today was a historic day for the Directorate for Social Change and Mental Health Services. They introduced their board members and also members of the Mental Health Tribunal. Health Minister Jelta Wong, flanked by the Health Secretary, showed great support through the officiating of the events.
The Directorate for Social Change and Mental Health Services officially introduced their 9 board members and 8 members of the Mental Health Tribunal today. Mental health is one of the most neglected areas of public health, which is quite evident in PNG.
But this moment, I'm very thankful that the Minister is here, Honorable Jelta Wong, and also Dr. Liko here with us, to ensure that this service has a place and it's recognized and is supported like any other health services is supported.
Since the Directorate's establishment in 2015, it has been working hard to bring more awareness and create a more organized structure. The Directorate was created on the legal basis of the Mental Health Act 2015. The Mental Health Tribunal of many matters will bring to any notice of the board any breach or suspected breach of discipline, while the board will ensure government priorities and policies in the provision of services for mental health care are implemented. Health Minister Jelta Wong reiterated the importance of this service in the country.
Our government is proud to be in the groove of this matter. It is evident that from the many activities set out by the Directorate of the Social Change and Mental Health Services have been proactive and equally have initiated many events in our nations.
Health Secretary Dr. Osborne Liko encouraged all the different health providers to work together.
Comes under the health department in terms of operational and budget functions, so that we synchronize, so that we can then move forward. And that's my job now here, to at least make the discussions and advise the board and how we can align and support this board going forward.
The Mental Health Act ensures that the Laloki Psychiatric Hospital has a board. With the mental health reform, the Directorate now comes under the Health Ministry and operates independently. Lilian Sopera Kinea, National EMTV News.
Trukai Sports is next. All the details after the break.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. PNG Surfing Association is saddened by the passing of Justice Nicholas Kiriwom. Justice Kiriwom was the founder of Tupira Surf Club and the only senior judge in the Commonwealth to hold an International Surfing Association qualification to judge at all levels of surfing competitions, both domestically and internationally.
With the passing of Justice Nicholas Kiriwom on Monday, 12th of April 2021, Papua New Guinea Surfing Association President Andrew Abel has expressed sadness at the loss of one of the great contributors to the sport of surf in the country. Abel referred to the late Justice Kiriwom as a trailblazer who, in partnership with PNG Surfing Association, pioneered the idea of surf tourism to replace destructive logging at Ulingan Bay in Madang, initiated in 2008. Abel stated this was a legacy project, a way to empower rural communities to be active and equitable participants of the surf tourism industry and not just mere beggars and bystanders. The Tupira Surf Club is one of 11 affiliated surf clubs. The club is the legacy of the late Justice Kiriwom, established in 2007. It is the only club that stands as fully owned and operated community-based surf tourism project marketed around the world with the support of PNG Tourism Promotion Authority, underpinned by the SA-PNG Management Plan model and policies that have been established around PNG and Bougainville over the last 32 years in partnership with traditional resource custodian host communities. Tupira Surf is the only club with all benefits reticulating into communities that make up the Daung Tupira Surf Management Plan for the last 13 years. In 2011, the Surf Club hosted the SA-PNG National Surf Titles, then the World Surf League Kumul Longboard Championships in 2017, which was live-streamed to millions around the world. Justice Kiriwom was not only the most senior serving member of the National and Supreme Court Bench of Papua New Guinea and well respected in the Commonwealth judiciary, he was also the only judge in the Commonwealth region to hold an ISA or International Surfing Association qualification to judge at local, national and international competitions. Kilawani, Trukai Sports.
The PNG Hunters have 3 former Brisbane Broncos consultants that joined the team in administration and coaching. The coach, Matthew Church, said that the 3 consultants are not paid under PNG RFL, but through funding from the Pacific Oz Sports Partnership under the Department of Foreign Affairs of Australia.
When Jokadi Barrett scored.
The PNG Hunters are enjoying the opportunity of having a few consultants join the team this year. Among the consultants, new General Manager Scott Barker, who was part of Wayne Bennett's Brain Trust for almost 2 decades as high-performance analyst. Papua New Guinea Rugby Football League CEO Stanley Hondina says with the team in Australia, Barker will handle almost all key administrative roles and report back to PNG RFL.
He's on a 1-year short-term contract. Basically, his job is to run the team, manage the team, provide that oversight, reports to the board on operational matters. He's more or less an operations, on the front of operations, securing sponsors, getting the boys on time to play, the camp is in order. Other admin support that the support staff need to put around Coach Matt and his team to deliver the program is the go-to person that liaises with QRL.
The other 2 consultants were also part of the Brisbane Broncos, with Ben Cross, former specialist coach at the Broncos, now in a similar role at the Hunters. The other is Jeremy Hickman, who is a high-performance manager with the Hunters. PNG Hunters coach Matthew Church says the 3 consultants are being paid by funding from the Pacific Oz Sports Program, from the Australian government, and not by PNG RFL.
Part of our coming to Australia and the support with the Oz Pacific Sports Program is that we get some funding. So I've applied for that funding and wrote a proposal to bring these guys on board. So the football content of those 3 consultants actually is getting funded outside of PNG, and it's not but the funding's not, at cost to PNG Rugby League or to the Hunters. So anytime you can resource people of this nature into your program, I think it's value for money, but this is the best money I've never spent.
Fidelis Sukina, Trukai Sports.
And that ends Trukai Sports. The weather details up next.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
A look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region. Partly cloudy with patchy rain in Port Moresby and Kerema. Partly cloudy with a few showers in Daru, Alotau and Popondita. In the Mamasa region, cloudy with a few showers in Lae, Medang, Wewak and Whanimo. In the New Guinea Islands region, cloudy periods with a few overnight showers in Lorengau, a few showers in Kavieng, Kimbe and Buka, and evening showers in Kokopo and Rabaul. And in the Highlands region, brief evening showers, then morning fog right across the region in Mount Hagen, Goroga, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
And that's been the news, sport and weather for Thursday, 15th of April 2021. On behalf of the news team, pleasant viewing. Thank you for joining us. Good night.